G'day there guys, wonders what dinosaurs taste like on a daily basis here. It's your host Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. I hope you enjoyed today's content, tell me what you think about it down in the comments, smash that like button and enjoy the show. Posted by user International Art 5586. Titled, Am I the a-hole for drinking a 6-pack of O'Doul's every morning? For quick context purpose, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for 4 years. I used to love day drinking, basically waking up in the morning and drinking right away. One thing that helped me kick the juice is drinking O'Doul's in the morning. It's a habit I haven't really broken, and with that being said, I bring a 6-pack of O'Doul's into work every morning and drink them at my cubicle. For those unaware, O'Doul's is a non-alcoholic brand of beer. I have a handful of co-workers that find this offensive. I won't call out anyone individually, but I've heard comments like, I wish I could crush a 6-pack of beers at work, or, I guess it's 5 o'clock in International Arts world, or, the rest of us are working hard while International Arts over there treating this like some sort of frat house party. I've also been told I reek like beer. And I even heard people undermine my sobriety by saying I still have a problem and that drinking non-alcoholic beer doesn't make it any better. I was recently brought into a meeting with HR and notified that some employees had issued complaints against my behavior. I was frustrated because no one yells at Diane for drinking 8 Diet Cokes a day, yet here I am in HR's office. I was politely asked by my employer to leave the O'Doul's at home. I'm having an issue understanding why this is a problem. Am I the a-hole for drinking O'Doul's at work? I feel like that's a lot of non-alcoholic beer to be drinking a day, and I also think that drinking 8 Diet Cokes a day is wrong also. I don't know what benefit you get from drinking 40 cans of Coke. I don't know what benefit you get from drinking 30 cans of non-alcoholic brands of beer. HR has told you to stop, and you don't want to stop doing it. Obviously, it's an issue with everyone in the office if it's gone to this level. I think that's as much information as you need to realize that, hey, I'm having a negative impact on the people around me. Maybe I'm the problem. And I think that you are the problem in this situation. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole if you continue. If your co-workers are saying you smell like beer, then I'd place this in a similar category as a co-worker who microwaved fish every morning. Even if it's not actually alcoholic and you're not in a customer-facing position, it's more of a point of professionalism. It's like if someone was drinking grape juice out of a wine glass all day at work, or if Diane was drinking her 8 Diet Cokes out of a pint glass. OP should just crush his non-alcoholic sixer in 30 minutes during his morning shower/crap, like alcoholics actually do. How has he made drinking 6 beers at work every day acceptable, lol? I wonder if he was drinking 6 alcoholic beers at his desk every day, so it became a habit? Try homebrew kombucha in a thermos, maybe? I struggle to say that you're an a-hole for having addiction issues, but get real, man. Imagine explaining to every new employee and client that it's non-alcoholic beer, Lamau. Professional workplace, 8:30 a.m. OP says, I'll be with you in 1 moment, sir. Proceeds to shotgun a 0.4% beer before opening another and taking a sip. Customer says to you, are you okay? OP brims with confidence. Ha! Yeah, they're non-alcoholic. I shotgun 2 then sip on 4 every day at work. Customer is visibly shaken and confused. Oh, okay, thanks. You're the a-hole if you continue doing this. It would be a rare office where drinking 6 O'Doul's first thing in the morning at your desk wouldn't be commented on. The fact that it's non-alcoholic doesn't change that everyone knows that it's meant as a substitute and looks like you were drinking beer. First, I'll say that I think consulting a doctor or addiction specialist might give you better tools, but I know that's not an option for everyone. So, I'd either get a thermos to pour them into before work so that people don't know what you're drinking from the look and label, get up earlier and drink them at home before work, or drink them in your car when you're allowed a break. But you gotta stop the desk thing. It's going to make you look so much worse if you keep doing it after being warned. O'Doul's even still has alcohol in it, just a low amount. According to their website, it's 0.4%. Just so you know, they write 0.4 on the can because it's possible a little bit of fermentation happens and makes trace alcohol amounts. They don't want to get sued. You're the a-hole. That is an alcoholic ritual without the alcohol. The fact that you drink it isn't concerning, but the way you drink it. Shotgunning and then cracking open more cans. And the way that you're clinging to this behavior is worrisome. Have you spoken about this behavior with your sponsor? What about a doctor? Even though this is a less harmful way to feed your addiction, it is still giving in to your addictive tendencies. Since it's now affecting your workplace, you should stop. If you feel like you can't stop, or you're making excuses for why you shouldn't, that should be sending off warnings in your head that this is about more than non-alcoholic beer. Posted by user Leaping Daffodil, titled, "Am I the a-hole for refusing to be involved in my ex's intervention?" X and I were together for just over 3 years. It wasn't all bad, but in the end we both grew and changed in ways that made us no longer compatible, and things went sour and toxic. I ended the relationship after I had a realization that I couldn't see a future with him. X was flawed when I left, which surprised me as we had done nothing but argue and disagree for the last year of our relationship. We went no contact, which led to us both losing some mutual friends. It is now 6 years later. Still no contact. I am now living with my new boyfriend. My life is very far removed from what it used to be, to the point that when I look back 6 years, it's like looking at someone else's life. A couple of weeks ago, I ran into one of our mutual friends that I had lost contact with. We shared a quick drink and a catch-up. Friend informed me that X is not in a good way. After we broke up, it seems that X went completely off the rails. He quit his job during a temper tantrum. Over time, he became a heroin addict and has apparently been prostituting himself for money to fund his addiction and has been in and out of institutions. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. During our time together, X never showed any interest in drugs. He barely drank at all. He was in a good job and was on his way towards a big promotion. I felt very sad for him. A couple of days after running into friends, X sent me a friend request. I couldn't believe it was him when I looked at the photo. He was so thin and gaunt. His skin looked grey. He looked as though he had aged 30 years. I couldn't bring myself to accept the request. I couldn't believe it was actually him. Following that, his older sister got in touch with me on Messenger. She basically gave me the same information that the friend gave me, and added that she was fast running out of ideas of how to help him. She came up with the suggestion that all of his friends and family get together and give him an intervention with me involved. They believe that me being there will get through to him, and that I owe it to him for all the years we were together, and for my part into his descent into addiction because I broke up with him. I just can't bring myself to do it. For starters, I don't understand what I'm supposed to bring to the table. All I can see happening there is that it gives my ex and other people an opportunity to pin blame on me simply for ending a relationship. Also, I have zero interest in revisiting my past like this. My life at the moment is just how I want it. My boyfriend says he will support me in whatever I decide. Am I the a-hole for refusing to be involved? Wow, she kind of just played her cards there, saying, you owe it to him for your part into his descent into addiction? That's just a trap. Everything was going well until she said that. I'd be like, I'm not coming to this one now. You've kind of made it clear what's going to happen if I do come. You would not be the a-hole for refusing to go to this obvious trap. He's the one that got himself into this addiction. It's unfortunate. It's a consequence of the choices we make in life, and this is one of them. I don't think you need to go and support him, and I don't think you would be an a-hole for doing so. I feel like their intentions are clearly set out here. You know, they can help him if they want to. They can keep that all to themselves. You would not be the a-hole. Absolutely not the a-hole. You see the relationship 6 years ago. Their recovery is not your responsibility, and his friends and family trying to guilt you into it leads me to believe that there is probably some serious codependency issues going on. State simply and directly that you are not interested and refuse any further contact from others related to him. Not to mention that I suspect getting her involved will maybe short-term make him feel better, but honestly, probably in the same way heroin does. I have a toxic friendship that I'm stuck in the cycle of. When we don't talk, I miss him and look at things with rose-colored glasses. But it's healthier for me, and I'm in a better mood overall. When we're talking, I'm on a roller coaster of emotion where I'm happy when we're getting along and irritable and sad when we're fighting. If OP is the source of his breakdown, which isn't the case, she's not responsible for any of it, then bringing her into it is just starting that whole cycle over again. She can't be his band-aid. He needs to create his life completely independently of him. The fact that she doesn't want to is 100% enough, but the fact is, it would be actively harmful for her to participate, so even if she wanted to, she should stay away. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Firstly, you breaking up with him isn't the reason he's an addict now. Anyone saying this is doing harm to your ex, because it's completely taking away his personal accountability and responsibility. Secondly, you owe him nothing. The relationship was not working for you, so you ended it. You've moved on, and are simply not part of his life in any way or form. Don't get yourself dragged into his drama at all. Posted by user Plastic Cup Bad. Titled, Am I the a-hole for expecting my girlfriend to cook dinner? My girlfriend and I both work full-time, but I do longer hours. We live 5 minutes from her work, so she only has a short commute and can leave pretty much just before she starts at 7:30 and finishes at 4:30, so is home by 4:40 at the latest. I have a 1-hour commute each way. I leave at 6:30 a.m. for a 7:30 start, and I do 10 to 12-hour days depending on my workload. Most of the time I get home at around 6:30 to 7 p.m., sometimes as late as 8 to 8:30 p.m. My girlfriend has always been the one who cooks dinner. Since she is home way earlier than me, it only makes sense. Otherwise we'd be eating too late. It's been this way for ages, and she has never once said anything about it until now it is suddenly an issue. She'd been complaining that I never cook dinner and demanded that I start sharing the load to give her a break, which were her words. I don't see why I should have to come home and cook dinner when she's already been home for hours. She argued that she spends this time cleaning the house and catching up on chores, which then sparked a debate on how I apparently never do general household duties. I admitted I don't do as much as her around the house during the work week for the simple reason that I'm not home as much as she is. How can I do all of those chores when I'm away at work for 12 plus hours? I said she has it easy with her standard 40-hour work week and no commute, which made her angry. For the past week, the only things she offers to cook are tinned spaghetti, toast, or packet noodles. I refused to eat, and one night got takeout for myself instead while she had peanut butter toast. On the third night, I got sick of it and said that she was being ridiculous for refusing to cook. She told me I'm being sexist for expecting to come home to a proper cooked meal. She later told her co-workers and friends about our talk, who apparently all agree that I'm a jerk for my expectations and reasoning for not cooking. Am I the a-hole? Edit. For those asking, our finances are pooled. She benefits from my income just as much as I do. I have offered numerous times in the past to pay for a cleaner. She thinks this is unnecessary due to the fact that we don't have kids. She said we don't need one and it would be a waste of money. We rarely cook on weekends, we mainly get takeout or go out for dinner. If we do cook on weekends, e.g. for breakfast, it is a joint effort. She doesn't like to get takeout too much because the cost of it adds up. I also suggested we get a ready-made meal service, so fresh meals delivered to our door every week, and she said it's overpriced and was not interested in it. As for doing household chores, etc. on my days off, I'll be honest and say I don't do much, for the reason being that we recently moved into a new house that requires renovating and repairs. I spend most of my free time doing this, all DIY. I don't think there really is too much to say about this one. Like, it's obvious they have been communicating, and it's obvious that they're both steadfast on their points and their sides of this argument. And it doesn't look like either are going to change their minds on how they're viewing the split of household chores and cooking being done between each other. Being away from the house for 12 plus hours a day during the work week, I guess it really doesn't leave you much time to sleep and get anything else done. But I imagine there at least is an hour or two in there that you could be doing cooking if you prioritized your time correctly, like a lot of other people do. I know it varies from situation to situation, but I feel like the majority would be on your partner's side here, OP. I don't feel like you can explain your way out of this one, especially with that edit. It kind of seems obvious that you're being unreasonable here, and, there may not be a solution to this one. It may continue the way it is, but the way it is currently, you're the a-hole, I'm sorry to say. You're the a-hole. No one should expect anyone to do something for them. Yes, it's nice to come home to a meal, but it isn't her job. What happens at the weekends? Do you cook for her then? Can you batch cook things together one day at the weekend so that you can have a home-cooked meal in the week without having to do anything other than reheat it? Yeah, sounds like OP isn't even appreciative. Do you ever do anything for her, OP? You both work full-time, so you don't support her. What exactly are you bringing into this relationship? Exactly this. OP is acting like he wouldn't eat dinner or clean his house if he didn't have a girlfriend. Plenty of people with long commutes and demanding jobs still have to feed themselves and clean their spaces. Having a girlfriend who works fewer hours isn't an automatic, no chores ever free pass. And mind you, she's working 40 hours a week too, which is a lot, even if it's less than him, and he's doing basically no chores. It's not like she's working much less than his 50 to 60 hour work weeks. It doesn't matter how long your commute is, since that's something that he decided on when they picked their place to live or taking the job offer. I somewhat have this arrangement with my fiancé, and there are ways around it to make sure everyone does their share. I do the majority of the housework during the week, but on the weekends, my fiancé does all of our laundry, cooks our meals, and does the deeper cleaning like mopping and scrubbing. And at least once a week, he picks up dinner on the way home so I don't have to cook anything. Also, we have a strict I cook, you clean agreement. Posted by user Salt610, titled, Am I the a-hole for living with my grandma at 31 and telling people to STFU when they tell me to get a real job? I always considered my grandparents my parents. My grandpa passed in January. I had been working at the same store since I was a teenager. I made a pretty decent wage since I had 14 years of raises, but I hated it. It was really taking a toll on my mental health, and after my grandpa passed, it just made everything worse. My grandma was also not doing well. She has always had an extreme fear of being alone and was grieving her husband that she had spent 64 years with. I was spending as much time with her as possible and trying to cheer her up. Then when the pandemic hit, I started to worry about catching and giving it to her. We decided I would quit and I would move in with her. Then she wouldn't have to be alone and I wouldn't have to have a job that I hate. This has worked out well for us. Both of our mental health has improved. This has also given me time and energy to start taking college classes online. Ever since my mum found out I quit and moved in with my grandma, she has been spamming me, calling me a loser and a deadbeat. I blocked her, so she calls my grandma and makes her cry. She tells her that she's holding me back by letting me live with her, that I'm an embarrassment to the family. She also told her that I'm being guilt-tripped into it. Not true. My grandma blocked her. Now she recruits the neighbors to pry. Because my grandma won't kick me out, my mum and stepdad wrote us out of their wills. Now if something happens to them, neither of us get my siblings. And because, according to my mum and stepdad, they will grow up to be a loser like me. This has completely devastated my grandma. She worries what will happen to them. She also now fears that they are right and that she is holding me back from having a better life and that I don't actually want to be here. Now my grandma says that everyone will benefit if she is gone. I could have the house to myself or rent it out or sell it. Then I would not have to worry about money. I could go to a good university instead of a community college. She thinks if I go to a better school, I will get a better job, and this will impress my mum and stepdad, and they will let me have the kids. I don't want my grandma going anywhere. This is her home. She took me in when I was a kid. She was there for me, and I have no problem being there for her. I still have some income from other work. I have no debt. I may not have a 401k or something, but I do have a good bit of money saved up. Everyone else seems to think that there is a problem, but my only problem is my nosy neighbors and my other family members prying into my life. Now, when my mum has someone else call me or my grandma, I tell them to shut the F up and mind their own damn business. Some of these people have complained to my mum and stepdad that I was rude to them, but I really don't think that I'm the one being an a-hole. My therapist says that there is never a reason to be rude. I'm getting close to telling her to shut the F up. I was going to give this one an everyone sucks here judgment based on that last paragraph, but I feel like these people do know that they're getting on your nerves, and I feel like your therapist is giving you bad advice there. If someone is genuinely harassing you, and the people calling you know that they're doing that in a harassing way, and they don't give up, I think there is sometimes a reason to be rude. Even if you come off as an a-hole in those circumstances, if you poke a bear enough, it's not an a-hole for reacting. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole in this situation. I feel like you've been backed into a corner, and I feel bad for you here. You're not getting the right advice or help that you need. Not the a-hole. How dare you tell someone who is harassing you to shut up? Unacceptable, ha! But for real, if you are taking college classes and have enough savings to make it through the pandemic, I don't see a problem. If you were just chilling and bumming out, that would be different. Get that degree, get a good job, and support your grandma. And OP says, sometimes I think they are jealous that I never had a real job and yet I have savings. They can't manage their money at all. Side note, you can't will your kids to someone. They certainly take your wishes into consideration, but it's not black and white like that. If something does happen to them, just make sure your ducks are in a row and talk to whoever they willed them to. It might be that simple, or it might involve some lawyers. You got this. Yup, if OP's mum and stepdad die, and OP and grandma are the closest next of kin, both geographically and family tree-wise, they will be getting a call from a social worker. Those kids are not going to go into a foster care when family is ready and willing to take them in. Not the a-hole. Your mum should mind her own business, mostly since she sounds like she was a terrible mother for you growing up. How is she supposed to know what's best when she couldn't be a good mother? I'm assuming this because you said that you always considered your grandparents your parents. From both your situations, it was probably best for the both of you. But with your mum harassing your grandma, I'd check to see if that's elderly abuse, because she shouldn't be able to do that to an elderly woman. Also, you're going to college now, and even if it's community, you can eventually transfer to a 4-year if you want to. That will open better opportunities for you. And OP says, your assumptions are right, and I wish I had went to college at 18. I felt I had to leave my grandparents as soon as I graduated high school, or I would be a low-life burden. I ended up stuck in a rut and wasting my youth working jobs that led to nowhere. My mum is pretty well blocked now, and my grandma has been telling the neighbors that they are misinformed, and if they're worried about me, they can speak to me directly. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enable me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.